information that get brought up through the county boards of elections and compare them to the BNV, Bureau of Motor Vehicles, and other government databases. She has said that she has run that information and has come up with a number of 200,000 mismatched voter registration forms. I have no idea how many of those are clerical, technical, transposed numbers, and how many of those have serious flaws based on that would call into question the validity of the registration. That's a good question for the Secretary of State.
So she hasn't given you even an unfiltered or text list of these names?
No. We would, again, if the Secretary would be willing to provide that sort of data, even in a format that would not be broken down by county and by precinct and by ward, which would be the right thing to do. I'll walk over there today and pick it up. The only person who has any information about the 200,000 mismatched voter registration forms is the Secretary of State. And the real question is, why is she hiding it?
If negotiating a settlement out of court was always the goal, why withdraw the lawsuit beforehand, giving you the leverage to negotiate?
Look, it was a good faith effort to try to show the Attorney General and the Secretary of State that we were serious, that we did not need to pursue. We didn't need to go on and continue to pursue based on the Supreme Court's schedule. They wanted briefings, and they were continuing to go through their schedule and their process. We thought it best to ask the plaintiff to suspend and withdraw the litigation so that it wasn't continuing on a two-track process. We didn't think that it made sense for there to be a continuing legal battle at the same time that we were trying to negotiate something out of court.
Was there a concern that David Myhall that was an embarrassing person that filed the suit?
From my standpoint, it wasn't our suit, so David and the folks that were helping him filed that suit. It was not done in conjunction or in coordination with the Ohio Republican Party. So we did what we could to try to eliminate the litigation and ultimately resolve the issue out of court.
Did any of the justices on the court ask you to convince him to withdraw that suit because of his connection to them? I've
had no conversations with justices, with any of the justices during that time.
Yeah, anybody in your office?
No, not that I'm aware of.
This issue isn't resolved to your satisfaction by the time of the election. You say Obama should win by a narrow margin. Is it safe to say that the ORP will probably challenge the outcome of the election?
Look, we'll figure out. I think there's two responses to that. I think that, first of all, we'll figure out what the remedies are and the opportunities are after the election based on the results. I think the bigger issue is the issue of voter confidence. If it's a close election, which I expect it will be, unfortunately, the Democrats and the Secretary of State will have to live with the public black eye that comes along with failing to provide this information, with failing to do everything in their power to restore and enhance the integrity of the voting system and the confidence that voters have in this process. Unfortunately, we have taken a bit of a black eye in Ohio, in part because the Secretary of State has stonewalled our efforts at every point at every step of the way to provide basic information that goes to the heart of the integrity of this elections process.
Kevin, is this tomorrow the county boards are going to begin opening the absentee ballot envelopes and separating the ballots from those, making it basically impossible to then go back and remove any of those ballots if it is later found that these were mismatched or whatever. Does that pretty much put you under an impossible timeline at this point?
Yeah, look, we'll continue to try to find a way to get this information out. We'll try to do everything we can to compel the Secretary of State to do this and to do her job. It is a shame that we're in this spot where boards of elections will begin the processing of potentially processing votes from absentee voters whose registrations have questions, whose registrations could have problems. That is a shame, and that's something that ultimately the Secretary of State needs to be accountable for.
Is it time to take this office out of politics? Voters rejected that in 2005, but after the election, should members of both parties come together and try to figure out a way to create a new election administration in Ohio so we don't get these black eye? Usually we have a black eye now. We had a similar black eye in 2004 perception.
Bill, I have no problem with pursuing that after the election. I'm happy to talk with members on the other side of the aisle and try to see if there's a common ground we can reach on that issue.
Has there been any federal confirmation that you've seen, or anybody in the office here has any connection to, in terms of investigations into